What is post-traumatic stress and what is happening to me? The key post-trauma symptoms include feelings of horror, helplessness, or fear, recurrent, intrusive re-experiencing of traumatic events like nightmare, flashback, intrusive memory replay, avoidance of any trauma-related cues such as places, people, or activities associated with the trauma or resulting in reminders of the trauma. It also includes anxious arousal like increasing heart rate and breathing, nervousness, fearfulness, agitation, easily ignited startle response, and even impairment of life skills, the ability to socialize, work, attend school, or manage family responsibilities. So what is happening to me? In the 1890s to early 1900s, Ivan Pavlov investigated gastric function in dogs and reflex responses. This has helped us to understand what happens after exposure to trauma and how to effectively help individuals recover from their difficult experiences. Consider this. When a dog is exposed to a favorite treat, it will salivate. If you then show the dog its favorite treat and at the same time ring a bell, it will salivate. Over time, it will salivate just by hearing the bell ring. You can continually ring the bell, but do not provide the treat. Then the response of salivation will stop. So the bell is not directly causing the dog to salivate. It is the reminder of the treat that leads the dog to salivate. When we're considering a trauma memory, it can also be associated with many reminders. For example, a friend of mine described being mugged on a beach when he was walking. He was pushed into the sand and his wallet and cell phone were taken. He was not injured, but later, walking in the sand or feeling sand created a sense of discomfort, leading him to avoid enjoying a walk on the beach. He didn't fully understand the connection until I explained what was really getting triggered was the mugging memory. So if we exposed my friend to sand over time, his discomfort would extinguish as well. This would be a good outcome, and then he could enjoy a nice walk on a sunny beach again without being bothered by negative reminders of the mugging. Looking at common trauma responses to reminders of a trauma, such as fear and panicky feelings, body tension, rapid and shallow breathing, these responses can also reduce or be better managed when we expose the individual to reminders of the trauma experience paired with relaxation over time, with the goal of extinguishing the disturbing emotional response. This doesn't mean you lose the memory of what happened, but that reminders of the trauma will have less of an impact on you. The idea is that we want to be able to embrace our lives and enjoy activities despite historical trauma. Otherwise, this bad thing that happened can continue to create difficulties for a long time rather than just in the moment of the event. What can happen when we have been exposed to trauma is that we close down our circle of activities to avoid feelings of anxiety associated with our trauma memories. We may change our behaviors to include avoidance of objects, people, and events that retrigger remembrances of traumatic events and the negative emotions associated with them. We might choose to dull the intensity of our emotions through the use of drug or alcohol. The essence of resolving trauma memories requires the individual to begin to confront rather than avoid the traumatic memories and the reminders associated with the traumas. The hoped-for outcome is that you will learn to address your fears and remain engaged in confronting the memories until the fear lessens and the symptoms are hopefully ultimately extinguished. We always pair relaxation with trauma exposure to assist you in moving forward to the best outcome. You could repeat any of the guided exercises multiple times in order to arrive at the best results. We also need to consider our thoughts and conclusions because they have a very big impact on our future decisions and behaviors following a traumatic event. Sometimes we can arrive at an incorrect conclusion such as, no one loves me, I'm never safe, people will always hurt me, or whatever it is at the core of our belief system. These conclusions can negatively impact how we live our lives, limit our activities, and keep us from our best possible futures. There are 4 things we need to challenge. 1, our distorted beliefs. 2, identifying the root of the distortion. For example, when did the belief first surface? What happened at that time? 3, extinguish the belief, often through various exposure or challenging exercises. And 4, develop new, more adaptive and intentional schemas or belief systems. For example, I'm doing my best now. Our brain functions in a manner to keep us out of harm's way and stores trauma memories so that when we have reminders of the trauma, they ignite our nervous system so that it activates all our resources to get us out of harm's way. For example, if my friend sees sand, he would feel a sense of fear and tension and would be motivated to run away as he perceives a threat to his safety. However, this is not really adaptive for him, as he hasn't taken the time to really assess if there's any real danger now. Nonetheless, that is pretty common response, and it happens so quickly that he doesn't realize he's reacting to sand versus a threatening mugging situation. So in order for him to react less quickly, we have to take down the volume of fear, in his case, fear to sand, so that he can assess his environment and ask himself, is there any real danger now? If the answer is no, he can then return to relaxing and enjoying his environment rather than reacting. But anyone who has been exposed to a very significant trauma understands that this may take some time to achieve because the fear in this moment can feel very real, even if there is no threat. Approach to trauma care. Today we know that traumatic stress treatments work. We know that exposure to fearful memories is a critical element to the treatment, the primary active ingredient to recovery. We also know that different people tolerate exposure to their trauma memories to differing degrees, and in order to assist you, we need to teach you skills to relax before we instruct you to focus on trauma memories. This audio program will focus on the use of the principle of reciprocal inhibition, which is the exposure to a disturbing memory while in a relaxed state. In the best case scenario, developing this skill allows the individual to experience extinction or a significant reduction in the overwhelming emotional aspects of their trauma memories. Although we might need to review exercises many times to arrive at emotional extinction, we will not expect that you will forget what has happened to you, but we hope that you will have an easier time when you're reminded of your traumatic memories after you've worked with some of the exercises that combine exposure and relaxation. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a popular approach that has been well researched and shown to be an effective method for helping individuals who've been exposed to trauma. This audio recording will provide step-by-step explanations in popular and effective techniques of CBT that you can follow as you listen. Some of these techniques include trigger list development, breath training, relaxation training, layering, anchoring, exposure therapy, systematic desensitization, storytelling approaches, and reconnection to the positive. This audio recording is packed with practical approaches that we have used successfully with our clients for many years. We follow a triphasic trauma practice approach, which is broken into 3 stages. 1, safety and stabilization. 2, trauma memory processing. And 3, reconnection. Each stage is explained and specific exercises are offered for you to work with. Again, this audio program does not replace direct psychotherapy care, but it is a starting point for you to better understand your struggles and to offer some interventions that have proven themselves over the years. Stage 1 is safety and stabilization. The safety section of this audio recording is focused on skills development to assist you to practice self-soothing and self-care skills to increase emotional and behavioral Stabilization. In cases where you remain in an unsafe environment, plans to establish personal and practical safety remain the focus of your goals prior to delving into trauma memory processing work. The overriding goal is to enable you to make a gradual shift from unpredictable danger to reliable safety, both in your environment and within yourself. Accomplishing this goal depends on the circumstances as well as internal ability to cope with exposure to trauma memories and may take days, weeks, or months to achieve. Stage 2 is trauma memory processing. In the second phase of recovery, you begin to work more deeply with exercises to work through your trauma history, bringing difficult memories to greater resolution. Because of the nature of traumatic memories, this process is rarely straightforward. You'll need to be prepared to take the time to review exercises more than once to get the best outcome. Again, this is best achieved working together with a qualified psychotherapist using this audio recording as a support only in your recovery goals. Reconnection is the final stage of recovery, and it involves redefining oneself in the context of meaningful relationships and engagement in life activities. You can gain closure on your experiences when you're able to see the things that happen to you with the knowledge that these events do not have to determine who you are. Trauma survivors can be liberated by the conviction that regardless of what else happens to them, they always have themselves. In many instances, trauma survivors find a mission through which they can continue to heal and to grow. They may even end up helping others with similar histories of abuse and neglect. Successful resolution of the effects of trauma is a powerful testament to the ability of individuals to heal. Once you move into the reconnection phase, personality that has been shaped through trauma must then be given the opportunity for new growth experiences that offer the hope of a widening circle of connections and the exploration of a broader range of interests. We hope that you can embrace this phase as fully as possible as it opens doors to engagement in a meaningful and fully activated life. This is our best hope for you. Information on downloadable materials to accompany this audio recording is available at the point of purchase, either on the website, CD, or related materials. When you download our free materials, they enhance your experience with our audio recordings by providing you a format to work with our guided exercises. If you were not provided information about how to find our downloadable materials, please visit the site of purchase or look on the CD jacket for information on how to download our accompanying materials. Phase 1. Safety and Stabilization. In order to effectively begin our trauma work, we need to have the skills to engage in feelings of safety and stabilization in this moment and on demand. This means we need to practice developing these skills as anything else we want to get good at. If we wanted to run a marathon, we'd have to begin slowly and build up our abilities. Building safety and stabilization skills is no different, and we need to start slowly and continue to practice until we can produce calm feelings of relaxation as needed. We'll cover a number of exercises here that you can review on multiple occasions until you feel you've developed mastery with each use. We will instruct you in deep breathing, relaxation, and grounding and containment. We will then finish this section with a trigger list exercise that will be our transition to the trauma memory processing phase. Phase 1. Exercise 1. Breathing exercises. Diaphragmatic breathing. Time required is 5 minutes. Material required, none. Indications for use include when the primary need is to enhance physical coping skills in the safety and stabilization stage of trauma recovery. Counterindications include any respiratory complications. When we watch an infant sleep, we'll see the rhythmical movement of deep belly breathing. This is the ideal breathing for relaxation and the nourishment of the body with the breath. When we feel upset or anxious about something, our breathing is often the first thing to change. It's likely to become shallow, rapid, and jagged or raspy. If, on the other hand, we were to practice an intentional diaphragmatic breathing, we would be more able to consciously regulate our breathing when we became upset. Find a comfortable, unrestricting position to sit or lie down in. If you need to stop this audio recording at this time in order to become comfortable, do so now and then begin again to start the exercise. Place your hands on your belly as a guide to your breath. Begin to consciously slow and smooth out your breath. Just notice the rhythm of the breath through the inhalation and exhalation. Is it smooth, deep and full, or jagged, shallow and slight? Now focus on bringing a deeper breath into the belly. Let a full breath be released on the exhalation. Inhale fully, not holding your breath at any time. On the exhalation, release completely and pause, counting to 3 after the exhalation is complete. Then inhale, slow, full, and deep. Continue to focus in this manner on your breath. Trying another exercise, you can place your clasped hands behind your neck. This opens the chest through the lifting and spreading of your elbows. As this occurs, breath moves much more freely and deeply into the belly. This procedure is an excellent alternative to hands on the belly for those who are just learning to breathe. Begin with sets of 5 inhalations and exhalations. You can then increase to 10 inhalations and exhalations. Finally, take a practice of 5 minutes per day, 2 times each day. In this way, you can learn to relax through deep breathing. The next exercise is called 3-6 breathing. The time required is 20 minutes, and the materials required can be found at our Recovery Now free download site. Print out the materials associated with the 3-6 breathing exercise. To watch a live demonstration of the exercise, visit YouTube on the web and type in Dr. Baran, DoctorBaran, all one word. You'll find this in the channel section. Use this exercise when the primary need is to enhance physical coping skills in the safety and stabilization stage of recovery. Counterindications include any respiratory complications. Now for the exercise. At the start of this exercise, it's best to focus all your attention internally, and if possible, it's preferable to begin with your eyes closed. When you're focusing on your breath, sit or lie in a relaxed position where you feel comfortable and will not be disrupted. Please note that a full breath is considered both an inhalation and exhalation. The first step in 3-6 breathing is just noticing. Begin by just noticing the pace depth, and movement of the breath as you take 3 inhalations and exhalations, 3 breaths. Notice if the breath is deep, shallow, smooth, rough, and how it feels as it moves in and out of the body. After 3 breaths, make a note of whether the breath was smooth or rough, deep in the belly or shallow in the chest, or slow or fast. Take the time to notice now. The next step is deepening. Begin by just noticing that you could make the breath deeper, smoother, and slower just by focusing your attention on this task. Take 3 breaths again, being careful not to hold your breath at any time. When you get to the edge of a full inhalation, begin to exhale, not straining the body at any time. Bring the breath deep into the belly on the inhalation and exhale the breath completely on the exhalation, letting the body rest for a beat at the end of the exhalation before inhaling again. At the end of the 3rd exhalation, stop and make a note of what it feels like to deepen, slow, and smooth out the breath. Try that now. This step is a sipping breath. Now you'll work with a sipping breath by imagining that there's a straw in your mouth, and you're inhaling through that straw very slowly and smoothly. You'll need to form your lips into an O shape. Notice how you can bring the breath deep into your belly. At the edge of the inhalation, begin to exhale through the nose. Do not hold or force the breath. Do this 3 times and make a note of what it feels like to breathe in this way. Try that now. The 4th and final stage is a counting exercise. Now we'll add this extra piece. You're going to watch yourself as you inhale and exhale, becoming aware that you can lengthen your exhalation until it is eventually twice as long as the inhalation. To start, we focus on inhaling to the count of 3. You can count silently in your own mind and exhale to the count of 6, pausing at the end to let your body relax. For most people, you'll lengthen the exhalation over time with a count of 3 on the inhalation and reaching 4, 5, or 6 on the exhalation. The idea is not to try too hard, but to let the exhalation lengthen over time with a pause to relax before taking the next breath. Begin by slowly inhaling fully and deeply into the belly to the count of 3, and release slowly and completely to the count of 6, counting in your own mind. Staying focused on the slow, full rhythm of inhalation and exhalation, do this 5 times and make a note of how you feel when you're done. Take the time now to put on a timer, set it for 5 minutes, and practice this exercise of 3-6 breathing. It's often amazing the progress that's achieved and can be demonstrated within a short period of time using this pattern of breath training.